Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Al Stock Trades. All right, guys. So I know it's a late live. I'm really sorry. It's actually 8:57 right now, p.m. in Arizona. So again, it's still like 9 p.m. I'm sorry, guys, late. So you're gonna have to probably catch me tomorrow because a lot of folks, are on the East Coast. So just wanted to talk about the market real quick. Hello, hello. How you doing, Tyler? I'm here to eat big steak only. Give us the good stuff. Um, What's going on, boys? And not to mention Melissa, of course. Right here with the Club to Retirement. We're waiting for the meat, our daily financial nutrition, the meat. I love it. All right, folks. So just a couple things that we need to talk about. Today is Thursday, January 30th, 2025. Tomorrow will be the 31st. So remember how I told you there's something called the rule of five? The five first trading days of the year is prognostic for the full year. Well, guess what? We passed that test. That was positive. We also have the first month. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm very proud to announce that we're actually up 3.49%. I know there's been a lot of drama regarding the market, but it's very bullish, and I'm very excited because unless the market falls and craps 3.49%, then obviously my tune will change. But overall, it's looking like a pretty not turbulent market. Before I want to begin and start the live and talk about everything we want to talk about here, I want to go ahead and I want to just take a moment of silence for the people that unfortunately have lost their life in the American Airlines crash because of the Black Hawk helicopter. Just when in a moment of silence, I just want you to think about the pilot, the flight attendants, the passengers, the families, and everything. Just one second here. Let's just take a moment, please. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so like I said, the first 30 days were looking pretty positive, so I'm not worried. Also, really quickly, just to kind of get a good analysis here, today not so much, down 0.45%. On 5 days, we're down 4.94%. Speaking about it, 5 days, the market's down 0.77. In terms of this, if you look at NVIDIA, it's down 15%. So there was some slight recovery, then we got decline, but overall, based off of this, we're still up from the bottom. So I think people are nibbling on it. But overall, on the month, we're up 38.87%. 6 months, we're up 131%. But really, though, year to date, we're still up positive 41.53%. So again, we gotta, we went up really high. I mean, we went up 53.99% in the first month, and there needs to be some type of just cooling down, I would say. But it's funny because I've shown you how Wall Street can be so unforgiving. And it's funny how we don't have a price target from JP Morgan Chase, but it's interesting because they just bought $480,000 of Clover, and they're gonna most likely probably continue to buy. What I want to say is the FOMC meeting happened on Wednesday, yesterday, January 29, 2025. And it was a dovish Fed. We actually knew that they're not really going to do anything to rates. But in the meeting, he said, but nonetheless, the last couple of readings have suggested more positive readings, essentially for inflation. And, this is actually pretty good. So the odds that a rate hike is happening has pretty much died out. And ultimately now the argument is going to be, are they going to cut in the next coming months? And I'm not really playing that game because I know that we're headed down that path. We already know that, President Donald Trump is literally pressuring them to cut. So I don't have to say anything. He's kind of doing his little poking. He's poke every single day, right? But the big thing here is Nvidia fell, then it's basically slightly rising. The VIX has fallen, and the U.S. 10-year Treasury has fallen. So I think this is setting, I think the market's pretty much setting itself up for a really great February, right? Or maybe the second half of February. I think we're pretty good on that matter. Now, what I want to talk about real quick is I want to talk about this graph, okay? So let's kind of focus on the top real quick here. So all these graphs below is the Clover Health institutional stock ownership, right? These are the big dogs. These are big boys, okay? So you can see here, and again, this data is provided by Al Stock Trades. So I'm very excited as, shout out to our brain machine and, shout out to the Al Stock Trades terminal, right? So overall, in the coming future, you're going to start to realize the power of our platform and the data in which can really internalize, you really can develop a thesis based off of this. And let's kind of work it out, right? Because we know, let's orientate ourselves. So let's just kind of grab Clover here and let's just look at the stock price. So in the beginning, in March of 2024, let's kind of pull a year. In March of 2024, Clover was around 88 cents, right? 88 cents. In June 30th, Clover was around about $1, right? And then September 2024, Clove was around, $3, okay? So let's kind of like, now we know, 88 cents, around $1, $3, right? So let's kind of put this together. So interestingly, institutions were actually cutting, right? And all of a sudden something happened. Maybe the SaaS business was released. Maybe the fact that they were positive free cash flow twice. But something happened where institutions went from 135-ish all the way to 165 holders, right? We actually increased the amount of investors holding over time. These are not just normal investors. These are institutions. These are the big dogs, okay? Now, total invested over time. So yeah, we're getting a lot more investors, but like, are they buying more shares? Well, actually, yes, they are. Total invested over time, they're actually investing more, right? So you could see how much, and this is 1 to the 10 to the 8th power, right? So you can start to see lots of money is being invested now. Okay. Ownership percent over time, you could see it's decreased, but then now it's increasing, and you could start to see the uptick, right? Remember I showed you, I graphed the exponential moving average, and I said, you know what? This is becoming pretty significant. And then also, a lot of people are talking about the overall short volume. Well, if you look at the put to call ratio over time, you can see that it's actually going down. People are not really shorting Clover anymore. I mean, if they are, remember I told you there's like different level of shorts, just like how there's like smart investors, then there's dumb investors. There's also smart shorters and dumb shorters. And unfortunately, the people that are kind of, shorting the stock right now, I want to say are the individuals that don't really understand fundamentals and probably most likely dumb money that has lingered thinking that, Clover Health is just a bad company and that it's going to crash. But they don't understand the fundamentals have actually changed. So, you're going to start seeing, it's going to decrease, but you're still going to get some people just still shorting, but it's okay because, and there are pathways, right? But you could see the days of Clover from the big boys getting short has actually changed. One thing I also want to point out is I want to reiterate this because Clover is going to grow 27%, right? And that's what there's, surpassing 100,000 lives, strong annual election period, right? They got a robust plan benefit powered by membership growth, mainly driven by switchers, right? And the question is these switchers going to consistently happen? We'll see, right? but the company is going to be basically trying to balance profitability and growth, which is very difficult. But if they can do it, I think the market's definitely going to reward them, especially that 95% are in their PPO plan, which has grown 27%, right? Welcome, 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 right? So now let's just go ahead and let's do something. So I'm on the process of essentially I'm recoding this. I'm like, it's almost like kind of Iron Man, kind of tinkering and just fixing up the suit. I'm fixing this up now. Before we had a rendering issue. So I'll give you an example. Let's go ahead and take a look at Clove. And let's enter Clove real quick. And let's go on the minute chart real quick. Before, when I press the support and resistance lines, we have it, 439, right? Then we got, 447, then 458, 465, 476. But if you were to repress it again, it was actually changing. So we went ahead and did a render. So now it renders it multiple times. So it doesn't give you a different answer. So we're stabilizing the code, right? We're stabilizing the calculation. So it's currently undergoing stabilization. And there's a lot of things that, it needs more development, right? So we're stabilizing it. But really quickly, though, on the minute chart here, it's looking like, 447 is a good resistance, but it actually went through. So if you were to look at it's 443 now, but it did actually go down today, down to was it a couple days ago? It went down to 436. So we did see some, but now it's slowly starting to rise. But if you go ahead and take a look at the hourly, make sure we got this here. Yeah, 447 here, guys. And then you could see that was the dip to 435. We go ahead and hit the simple, the support and resistance, and you can see, that 461 is that new level of resistance, and we should follow it up with the AI machine we have on the stock terminal there. But then 420 is that support line here, right? But what I do like is the Fibonacci, right? The Fibonacci is suggesting 440 is a pretty good support, and under that's 413. Then you got that 483, right? And then if you hit it with a Monte Carlo and run the simulation, we're looking at 447. So it's pretty much right on where the Monte Carlo is, right? And if you go ahead and activate the daily real quick, and we're going to have to input more on the daily, I'm going to end up putting in more data into this. Again, it just needs to be refined. It needs to have a little bit more data points so it can be a little accurate. But if you put the support and resistance here, and again, guys, 422, right? 422 here, right? And again, the more data it has, the better. Different time charts for different things. But overall, we're looking at 422 and then 482. Again, we're consistently seeing that number. Again, 411, 482. Again, that 482 is a big one, right? Especially since, I think it's that highest 52-week high. I think it was like 486, to be honest. And then we could go ahead and do a Monte Carlo, simulate it. You could see, 628 is with simulation. Take it as a grain of salt right now because it's still in rendering. I'm still trying to render it. But let's go ahead and just graph the all-time. Let's graph the all-time here. So you graph the all-time, and, we could go ahead and do support and resistance, and you could kind of see that we're on slowly our path to 777, right? You put the Fibonacci's. We still got to pass the 523, right? And then I think we've talked about this before. I think B-Rad Cooley talked about the 523. Once we get the 523, I think it's going to fall maybe again. But if it passes 523, I think we're going to basically pop to 770, 777, right? And then we can get to that Boeing, 885 or, 887 or whatever we called it, right? And if we do a Monte Carlo and run 1,000 simulations, again, guys, these are 1,000 simulations, right? There's 1,000 simulations that are running. We get 427, right? So you could see, and then we could run it again, and then we should get around there, 530, right? Run it again, and 532. Run it again, 419. Run it again, you get 428. The point is, you're going to get around that because we're running it 1,000 times, and we're ultimately basically taking the average point, right? And we're gonna do more with this calculation. It's just, there's a lot that's happening here, and there's a lot of data, there's a lot of code, and we're just kind of basically slowly fixing it. But we're on the right track here. Okay. Um, we're also going to be fixing our sentiment analysis. So let's go ahead and graph the sentiment for Clover. So you can see the sentiment is, slowly, starting to fall a little bit. Hence the stock price is stabilizing, but I would say it's still bullish. We're still net bullish given, where it was before. I am going to, you can kind of look at, we can get more data here, and you could see, we spiked up and then now it's kind of going down. Right. Look how cool this is. Right. Isn't that pretty cool? So, again, we still need to fix this. There's a lot that we, this is probably, why is Clover Health popped 61% in December. This is another hot SPAC stock. I mean, again, lots of data. This thing's analyzing a lot of data, right? So the point is, you could kind of see the bullish score here. We're pretty much at its highest that we've ever been, even since 2021. I mean, you remember when the stock squeezed? The stock squeezed when? The stock squeezed here in June. The stock squeezed here in June, which was a score of 1.08. Ladies and gentlemen, we're at 1.2. I mean, we have bypassed the short squeeze based on the sentiment news. Imagine if the sentiment news happened back in 2021, right? So the point that I'm trying to tell you is that we're going to see this stock explode, not because of a squeeze, because of the fundamentals. And again, this is not hype, right? This is all data. You're not going to find this data anywhere else because this is our own proprietary Al stock trade sentiment analysis. So it's going to give us some time, but ultimately I'm happy that we're able to, because not a lot of articles have been created. We're able to kind of see this data, and I'm happy that kind of we're registering this data online to show you guys, because this is very powerful. This is extremely powerful, extremely powerful, because if you look at kind of how negative it was, this was like May, and then we had another one here, this was May of 2020. I mean, zoom in. This is May of 2024. See how negative that is? May of 2024. What do you think happened in May of 2024? What happened in May? May was right here, right? May was like 72 cents. Holy crap, guys. Right? Actually, May was 64 cents. Right? May was the all-time low. Right? And near the all-time low. And you can see the power of the Al stock trades terminal. A lot of people were very negative here, and all that, if they sold, you are a part of a statistic. You are a part of our education. Thank you for being a part of the knowledge that we're going to be educating. I mean, it's really sad, but it's just another statistic, right? So it's really great. Again, it's all analytics. I don't like to, if I have an opinion, I'll tell you it's my opinion, right? But it's all data. And then on top of this data, we take all this information, it runs to our proprietary analog, which then goes through this information and sorts it between bearish and bullish. And then it does an exponential moving average, and it takes it and it graphs it, right? So I'm just very proud. Again, I'm still working on this. I'm trying to really, I'm really trying to really do some things to it. There's just a couple things that I want to get done here. Right. So there's a lot that I'm trying to do, right? There's just a lot. Like Meta, you can see Meta, the news is really positive. And the stock price is 687 now. And if you look at Meta in terms of where it is, 680, Meta, you could see Meta's probably in a level that it's probably near all-time highs. You see that? So you can see how the news is, right? So the point is this thing's pretty damn good, and I'm going to make it better. I love that Clover is at a position where, we're, here it's really hard to tell, but if you look at all times, you could see that we're at a level nearing, right? We're at a level. I mean, February 16, guys. Sorry, January 16 was what date is this? Give me a moment. Let me figure this out. Hold on. Yeah. That's January 16, right? Let's look at Clover on January 16. So let's look at Clover. This is January 16 right here. January 16 was the peak. And then that thing just popped 18% from that peak. So it's again, there's a lot to look forward to, and I'm just and then it's funny how, January 16 was the peak, and then I'm actually curious to see. I'm curious to see when Jim Cramer talked bad about Clover. He talked bad about Clover. That's funny, on January 22. So January 22, I think, is when Jim Cramer talked bad about Clover. And I just find that interesting because, we hit the peak and this thing was about to pop. And all of a sudden, January 22, it just kind of, it's a hey, stop. Why? Because again, if you think that, listen, I created this equation because I'm a scientist and I know how to ask the right questions. But if you think that other people have not created something like this, you are blind. Billionaires already have this data, and they've actually had this data 10, 15 years ago. Okay. I'm like, this is not, they saw the exponential moving average most likely, and they saw that it was more than the June short squeeze. And they said that if this continues where it's going, then the news is going to continue getting higher. We need to shut it down, right? And I really think that's what happened, right? And you can be the judge of that news, right? In terms of what he said, right? Again, you already have seen proof, right? I don't want to hit, I don't want to hurt anybody, right? So again, the stock market's not for you, right? They don't want you in the stock market. The only time they want you in the stock market is to take your money, right? Then have you essentially go work 9 to 5 for them, and they'll give you your money back through your hard-earned labor, right? So again, guys, it's all data analysis, right? You can really tell the story. So like I said, we're going to be altering this. We're going to put we're going to put earlier time points. We're going to put like a 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, so we can basically see, how the data looks like. And ultimately, I don't know. Let's look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA is pretty crazy. Yeah, NVIDIA December, we're already hitting 1,000 articles, and you can see NVIDIA is like insane. So NVIDIA, we're like a month. This is just kind of a month worth of data for NVIDIA, honestly. What is that, a month of data? Yeah, so so essentially, and this is pulling 997 articles. Like, this is taking a lot. I mean, imagine the data we're synthesizing within seconds, right? This is a very complicated equation, and I just need some time to kind of tinker with it. But again, lifetime access, right? So you guys have time, right? So, but it's you can see it's very accurate, right? All right. So now we talked about, the Al stock trades, terminal analysis. Now let's go ahead and just look at the financials real quick. So, you go ahead and take a look at Clover, and, you see this beauty here, and, you see ultimately what people see for the revenue. Let's actually graph the revenue here. Let's actually ungraph the free cash flow. And let's what people basically see is a company that went up, then it went down, right? They see a company that literally went from 3.4 billion down to, 2 billion. And now this year it'll be 1.35 billion, right? So they just see a company that's falling, right? But then I want you to look at gross margins. Gross margins went from 2%, 12%, right? Negative 5%. Honestly, this is the real data here, 2021 and beyond. Negative 5%. Then they went 0.65%. And then all of a sudden now they're 12.65%. So the gross margins have actually improved. In fact, let's actually do the quarterly real quick. And you can see the gross margins now went from 10%, 14%, 13%, 11%, 23%, 30%, and then now we have 83%. So something happened. Did they get there? Is there somehow a SaaS in here that we don't know about, that they haven't really talked about? What is this? I mean, Gun Show was talking about something that happened, and I don't know. I mean, this is kind of a big aberration because, again, we have the data here. Might as well, look at the gross margins. The gross margins just literally shot up. Now, is this an aberration? Is this a technological issue? Is like, are we hallucinating here? This requires some investigation. But ultimately, we look at operating income. We are, it's all negative, right? Net income, it's negative on the year. And when people type this into their Bloomberg terminal, and now we can call it the Al Stock Trades terminal here, you can look at, shares, and you can see they diluted a lot here, right? They diluted, and book value negative 0, negative 6, 1.3, 0.7, and now 0.59. But if you look at the quarterly, here's the book. It's just really funny. You can graph this now, because this is very, guys, how much money people are going to be making. Holy moly. So the book value has decreased, right? And we lost a lot of money with the stock, right? But all of a sudden now, the book value is going from 59 cents, 60 cents, 67 cents to 70 cents. And you can basically see it here. So what you're seeing is the book value now is recovering, right? And you can see the fundamentals. It started in Q4 of 2023, and then Q1, Q2, and Q3. And you can kind of graph this with the stock price, because the stock price has been exploding. So you're starting to see kind of how the fundamentals play out. And you remember when I used to have the Excel spreadsheet, and I was trying to show you this, but then it just takes long to put in the data to show you that you lose concentration. You can see how powerful the stock terminal is, how it's just easy to just visualize it, how you have your finger on the pulse. You are the captain now. You are Bloomberg, right? Right? You are the captain, right? And then let's go ahead and just take a look at real quick. If we really want to, let's go ahead and just look at free cash flow. Actually, let's look at earnings per share. You graph earnings per share, and here's 0. And for the first time, we're positive for just one quarter. Then we're back to being negative, right? But we've never been this negative for a while. I mean, we're at the highest near 0, so this is pretty good. This is above 0, right? But let's just go ahead and take a look at free cash flow. Now, free cash flow has a special equation. It'll signal when it goes from negative to positive. So before we actually had a signal here, right? Actually, I'm sorry. Let's do free cash flow, not free cash flow per share. We had a signal here and signal here, but it wasn't continuous. It died out because it went from negative to positive, then it went negative, then it went negative, positive, then it went back to being, it was still positive, and then it fell down being negative. It was decreasing. This is the first time. Q1 was 25.49 million, Q2 was 44.36 million, and then Q3 was around 58.45 million, right? How long does it take before the stock terminal is accessible? Actually, you can get access to this now. This is people are using this now, right? So again, the product that we offer is something that you really can't find anywhere else unless you go to Bloomberg. So we have the $60 monthly package, which sadly does not include this, because this is part of the Al Stock Trades website. So this is on our Al Stock Trades website. Okay. So so you don't get access to this if you are a monthly subscriber. However, if you get lifetime access, mastering, or bundle, which prices will be increasing, obviously, because this is expensive to run. Look, this is expensive. This ain't cheap, right? This is taking a lot. Like every time you hit enter, that's a lot of money, right? So it's very difficult. It's very difficult to run, right? It's actually accessible now. So people that are on our lifetime access, they're actually using it now. They're playing with these new tools, right? You have to be exactly. This is lifetime, right? And like I said, and I made you guys my promise many, many years ago. I said that we are trying to empower you all to essentially make a fair shake. And, you know, because like, how many times have you, like how many times have you heard the story? Stock market's for gambling. Stock market. Well, yeah. I mean, yes, it is. If you don't know these numbers, yeah, you have to know these numbers, and we teach you what these numbers are, right? Um, right. So the Discord only has a welcome page. Okay, so that means you signed in. Did you put in your stock terminal integration? You must have. So you must have got lifetime earlier then. So what you do is let me since we're here, let's just go here. So what you want to do, and let me just open up this. Is this the student section? Yeah, this is the student section. Yeah, you want to hit the stock terminal because it's like, I don't want it to be the admin section. You want to hit this button here, stock terminal integration. Okay. Once you hit this button, there's going to be a series of instructions, right? You put in your Discord username, and then the system will go ahead and within 24 to 30 hours, go ahead and add you automatically. If it doesn't, I can come in manually, but it adds you automatically. And you'll essentially get your gold lifetime badge. It'll be gold, kind of like this badge here, but it's in gold. You get your gold badge, and then what you'll do is you'll have access to the terminal, which means you'll have access to 2.5 billion outputs of institutionally graded data, and also you'll have access to all of this, right? So if you did it, just give it some time. The system will kind of let it do itself, but ultimately you need to put your username in the terminal, right? You need to put your username. So if you haven't done that, then it can't recognize you. Does that make sense? But yeah, but rest assured, it'll, the process, obviously, you can see people are using it, right? So, just very quickly though, we're really trying to empower retail investors against Wall Street, right? Because, you can see the bullshit surrounding Wall Street. But you can see now we're actually moving to positive. And remember, this is hitting on the quarterly. If you look at the annual and actually just look at the annual and graph and update that chart, the annual actually is still negative 116 million because this is for 2023, right? We still haven't finished Q4 of 2024. But once that happens, and if it is positive and the overall trend is positive, then you'll start to see Clover as its first fiscal year free cash flow positive, right? That's actually pretty good. In fact, if you move away this and look at net income, for the first time ever, we got negative to positive net income. And again, this signals you, right? Obviously, the next quarter was negative, but still look at Q3 of 2024 and compare it to Q3 of 2023. Here it was negative 41 million. Here it was negative 9 million. You can also see it here, right? Negative 41 million, and here's negative 9 million. That's almost a 70% improvement in the net income. So if I got to think about it and say, well, once they get their 4 stars payments, which is in 2026, they're going to have a 5% margin improvement. Don't you think they might actually become profitable? I think so, right? So again, you can see how powerful this data is, right? In fact, now you have access to an automatic intrinsic value. It actually puts in the data for you. You still have to manually adjust it. Like, do you want a robot to do surgery on you, or do you want an experienced surgeon to do a surgery on you? That might change in the future, but as of right now, you want to be that surgeon, right? You want to essentially modify it, right? So let's just go ahead and hit Clover. It grabs the data automatically from our servers and it graphs, right? But I won't call this accurate. In fact, it's saying the average free cash flow is 81 million. Technically, if you look at the quarterly here, it's actually more than 81 million. It's actually 118 million. But because it's negative, like I told you, because it's negative on the yearly for free cash flow, because it's negative here, guys, because it's negative, it automatically goes through a proprietary analog and senses negative free cash flow companies, and it applies our 5% automatic analog that we do automatically. The only issue with this is the growth rate. right? So what I did is there's a little equation down here. Where'd it go? In the annual. There it is. So if you go to annual, there's a little equation here that automatically, does its calculation. It looks at the 5-year average revenue growth rate, the 3-year average revenue growth rate, and the year-over-year average revenue growth rate. So it's 48%, 44%, and negative 41%. And then it takes the averages of all these, the 5-year, the 3-year, and the year, almost like a computational model, right? And then it goes in, like, not computation. It's almost like I forget the right word to use, but it takes the average of all of these, and then it gives you the average above growth rates of all, and you get a 17.21% growth rate. And that's actually really great. And it's actually pretty conservative because technically Clover actually now is going to be growing 27%. So it's actually undershooting it by 10%, which is actually good. So if you would have done what was it again? 17.21. If you would have done 17.21, given off of an 81 cash flow, you get a bull case of 6, right? So you could see kind of the market, what it's doing now. You're getting a base of 442, right? You see that 442, ladies and gentlemen? What's the stock price right now? The stock price is 443, right? So you could see, what we're doing right now, and you can see how the market, again, I've been doing this for a long time, and you can see the market, here's the 443. The market is really trying to do this calculation this way, but in reality, this is all BS. We know it's 118 million, but the market's kind of foolish. We know the average free cash flow is 118 million. We know they're going to grow 27%. We go ahead and update this projection and grab it and run it. You actually get a recession of $4.50. Clover is technically trading at its recession level now if it grows 27%. The only reason why the stock hasn't appreciated to those levels is because it still needs to prove that it can grow 27%. But once it does, you have a recession of 457, a bear case of $9.22, a base case of $12.56, a bull case of $18.28. Okay? So the point here is you're starting to see how everything we've been talking about is coming together. And you're starting to see how we have our intrinsic value software, because people used to make fun of me when I used to call it a software. They didn't really understand what I was trying to build, and I've been quiet about it, right? But we went ahead and we have it in front of you here, right? And there's many more to come. So here's the intrinsic value software, our financial data and analytics metric chart from the Al Stock Trades terminal. And it gives you kind of, you go ahead and put SoFi, it updates it, and it gives you the SoFi stock, the SoFi name. So you can see how friendly the user interface here. It's very Apple-like, very simple, Apple-like, and just elegant. Okay. And here's the simple moving. So here's the, support and resistance and the Monte Carlo sequence simulation. So you can start to see that there's really nothing that we can't do together. Okay. And this is lifetime access, which is unheard of. You cannot find that anywhere else. Okay. You cannot find that anywhere else. Okay. All right. So let's go to the markets real quick. And then if you have trouble doing the stock terminal integration, simply sung, email me at al@alstocktrades.com, and then we'll definitely help you. Okay. We'll get you integrated. And that goes to anyone else who purchased Lifetime. A lot of folks have purchased Lifetime, and some of them haven't integrated yet. And I get it. You just wanted to secure the deal. But again, I'm telling you guys, you're missing out on this data. So get yourself integrated. Use the tools that you've purchased. Okay. Al, it's time to grow the Frobro. What is that? It'll be positive because of the exactly. Simply sung. Exactly. Why are you doing? How you doing? Shawarma is on me in Dubai. Oh man, I want some shawarma. It's going green and moving to 5 now. I hope so. Once it passes 5 to 6 and 7 will be, yeah, exactly. Time to eat some grape leaves. Oh, you talking about some dolma? Some dolma. There we go. Great job, Al. I remember the spread days. It's come a long way. Exactly, Tyler. And I'm so happy that, you've seen us from the beginning. You've seen us from the beginning. And you know, it's funny. I'm not nowhere near this person. I am not this person. But it's funny because I love, you know, just look what my girl sent me. My girl sent me this, and let me just send you what she sent me. Can you just hold on? Because you guys are gonna freaking love this. One moment. She sent me this, and I was like, holy crap. That's crazy. It's crazy how life is. So this is a really nice thing. Let me just go ahead and turn on the camera. Say cheese. Dude, take a look what my girl sent me. Remember how we used to have just Excel spreadsheets, and I'm just trying to show you manually how all this is done? Remember these days? It kind of reminds you of Jeff Bezos, right? With his like messed up table and the spray paint in Amazon. Just like you said, these were the spreadsheet days. And look how far we've come along. And we did it together. And again, like I told you guys, I have a mission to teach you what I learned. All I'm trying to do is teach you what helped me break out of hell. Okay? Guys, listen, guys. Okay? You know, I grew up with nothing. Right? I have no family. I grew up with nothing. And I found this thing called the stock market, and I analyzed it, and I found a pattern. And my goal is I'm trying to show you this pattern. Okay? And I'm happy that you're seeing it. And the problem is, I'm not going to lie, it's hard. I tried to show you with the lines. I really did. You remember I used to graph these lines? Here's the revenue. Here's the free cash flow. And I tried, but it's hard. It's hard, because it's hard to, see it. Now we have it. Now I can show you the right way. I can show you how it is from the Bloomberg, like almost like a Bloomberg terminal. I can show you now. And now you can have it lifetime. Right? This is one of my contributions to the world, right? And this is life-changing. And if you don't believe me, watch my wealth and the wealth of others in the next 5-10 years. Just watch. Watch and believe. Okay? This is the real deal. This is the real deal. Just very quickly, let's take a look at AMD. Here's AMD. And let's just kind of look at the free cash flow. AMD's free cash flow went from negative to positive, then it fell, then it went up here. And then let's look at like net income. So you can see, and there's a couple things I need to do, but let's just look at net income for a sec. You can see after 2018, it became positive. And then for free cash flow, AMD, 2019. So 2018, it became net income positive. So you can see here, here's net income. 2018, it became net income positive. But for free cash flow, it became positive in 2019. Yeah, it became positive here, 13. But that's 13. That really doesn't count. That's little, right? You can see that's only 13 million. This is a big dog, 276 million. So let's just grow net income and free cash flow. You could see you got the double. You got the first the net income, then the free cash flow. Usually it's the free cash flow and net income. But watch what happened. Then all of a sudden it started growing. I want you to watch what happened to AMD in 2018, 2019, and then 2020. Let's work on this example. Let's look up Max. So here's 2018. It shot up to $26 because of the free cash flow, and then 2019 it shot up to $48, 39.49. So it shot up pretty much. It shot up about 224%, right? And it's funny because if you look at 2014, it was actually, $3. It was actually $3. Then if you would have done it here, you see a two bagger, then all of a sudden it went up to a two bagger. It went up to a 52 bagger. Sorry. So the question is, what happened in 2015? Well, very simple. Just look at the free cash flow. 2015, you start to see 2016 it was 13 million. So, here's 2016. You see how it jumped? Actually, AMD was actually $1.83. You see how it jumped? We're talking about a 112 bagger, so over 100 bagger, and you can start to see how the power of this is, right? So you can see how it took 10 years for it to explode. 10 years from the absolute bottom. I mean, this stock has crashed 95%. 95%. I mean, are you starting to see kind of what's going on here? Just study the patterns. For all the folks that are on the lifetime axis, play with these numbers. Look at AMD, Advanced Micro Devices. Look at the free cash flow, 13, 45. And you could have seen it just look at the revenue. The revenue was growing. So that's good. The revenue declined heavily. Then they started growing. Operating in why? What happened in 2015? What were they doing? It looks like there was some dilution. The book value fell. It was near 50, 60, $1.20. You could start to see, and now all of a sudden the book value is rapidly increasing. There's just so much to look at, guys. You know what I mean? So much to learn. Okay. So I mean, just look at gross margins. Look at what was going on here. Something happened 2015 and 2016. Something happened, right? So the point here, guys, is you have the data at your fingertips, and it's all about using it, right? So Clove to retirement. What's going on? My 220 shares wants to move up. I know. Tell me about it, right? And then here's the thing. You'll have access to all this information, and then we're going to get, I'm going to start doing the wheeling strategy on the large stockpile. And when that happens, holy crap, we are going to have an empire, right? So, red or blue pill. So my first purchase of AMD was $1.93. So, you're familiar with this game, right? You're familiar with the game, right? So sold it when it hit 25 and regretted it since. So since we're talking about AMD, let's use these numbers. So AMD, was growing pretty rapidly, would you say? We can say it started to pick up steam here. We could say 399152, we could look at the growth rate, but I think you would learn from the report. But let's just look at AMD real quick, right? So AMD is saying 146 is the bull case, base is 98, bear is 71, recession is 33. So bull is 146. So you can see it's currently trading at 118. So you can see how accurate our stock, the thing is. But let's just, it's growing at 35%. Let's just put this at 45%. Let's put this at 52 or yeah, let's do it here. 4319 times 0.25, 215. So we could do 215. And let's do shares. Shares back in the day was around 830. So we'll do 830. Oh, wait, sorry. 830. Oh, wait. This is not going to calculate correctly. I'm sorry. Let me do it again. Sorry. So you could see when AMD was near $5. The bull case was $68. You see how you could have caught that $68? See how powerful that is? You can kind of cut these off here, but yeah, you can see. So again, this is basically using numbers from 2016. Let's update. I'm sorry. Let's go ahead and autofill it right now and just redo the data. This is kind of where AMD's at right now. Okay. So you can see how accurate our intrinsic value is. And you could go ahead and I would obviously check all these numbers, right? I would check all of these numbers. You can see the 5-year average, this here, and the overall average. And you want to make sure you want to make sure you get this. And then you can look at the net income growth. The net income growth is 25%, and you can go ahead and run that. And that's at 74. So, there's a lot of ways to look at this. Okay. So you can see how accurate this is, and you can go through a bunch of stocks and just go boom, 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 boom. Right, here's another one we talked about before, Marvell Technologies. It's 38. Now let's go ahead and go from net income. Oh, nope. We'll go here. Let's kind of see what we're going on right now. You can see the Marvell is decreasing and the revenue speed. So, could they be overvalued? I don't know. Right? We got to go here and type in Marvell and then go to free cash flow and see what the hell's going on. Free cash flow is going up. Revenue is kind of stabilizing a little bit. It's actually going down. We got to open up the quarter, look at the quarter and all these things. Oh, look at that. Oh, negative to positive. What's going on? What the hell's going on here? Oh, whoa. What is this Marvell? What is Marvell doing here? What are we saying? Let's go ahead and take a look at net income. We got 2020, it became negative to positive. What happened to Marvell in 2020? You see how you can see these patterns? Here's 2020 in Marvell, and it went from negative to positive, and look at that. You see, you see the pattern here. You see how you got a signal here because it went from negative to positive. All right, guys. So the data is there. All right. This is how the big dogs do it, and now the world can see through a very sophisticated Apple-like user interface. Welcome to the Al Stock Trades Terminal. God bless you all, and I'll see you on the next one.